Hello there, darlings. Welcome to the Clockwork Cabaret. Do you want some dancing and some drinking and some missin and some stuff like that there? Well, too bad, 'cause you got this show instead. And now, let's get on with it.
And with the sound of the cuckoo, you know that it is time for the Clockwork Cabaret. Hooray!
Hey.
I am Emmett Davenport.
I'm Lady Attercop, and that hooray was a lie.
That's all right. It was kind of quiet and cut out because microphones.
Oh, did my hooray just totally get cut out?
Oh no, it was there. It's just, the fun of doing this across distances is that we don't always sometimes the microphones just kick out the sound if it's too loud.
Oh, Phineas P. Moneyload could never.
No, he can't social distance whatsoever.
Also, the microphones would just cut him out always.
All the time. He can't talk in a whisper. His whisper is like a normal person voice. He's not good at secrets.
Or whispering.
It's true. So it's another week in December.
It certainly is that.
Here in North Carolina, our weather has been very North Carolina-y.
Just a waking nightmare of sinus pressure.
Well, it's, 1 minute it's 24 degrees and then the next minute it's 70. It's been great.
And as an added fun bonus, anytime that you have post-nasal drip, a stuffy nose, an allergy cough, or you randomly spit blood into the sink, you have to be like, is this the COVID?
Randomly
What's the Rona got me?
Randomly spit blood in the sink?
Oh, yeah, that was a fun thing I experienced on Saturday. Hey, listeners, guess what you get to hear about because I don't go anywhere or do anything, so you have to listen to my body horrors. Yeah, so Saturday morning, I'm getting ready for work. I've got my cute little outfit on. I'm feeling myself. I did not put makeup on because contrary to what Mad Max will have you believe, eyeliner suddenly becomes very irrelevant in the apocalypse. I just don't have the spoons for eyeliner or mascara or eyebrows. So I have, so people cannot see any facial expressions off of my face anymore whatsoever between the no eyes and the mask. And I'm just rolling with that.
Well, also you wear glasses, so it's kind of hard.
Yeah. Well, they're big, nerdy glasses that are see-through, so they could you could see my makeup if I would take the time and the effort, but I don't.
Who cares?
I certainly do not. But yeah, I'm brushing my teeth, and how you spit the foam into the sink, and there was a little bit of blood in it. I'm like, that's must have got my gums there. And I brushed some more, and I spit some more, and there was some more blood.
Oh.
And there was some more blood and some more blood. And it got to the point where it's like, oh, that's a concerning amount. And so I kept spitting and there kept being blood. And then it became, where is it coming from? That's a fun game to try to discover.
Where was it coming from?
I still don't know.
I'm just going to
assume. A little stigmata mystery in my mouth.
I'm just going to assume it was gum things.
Yeah, but normally, if your gums, you can see if they're bleeding.
Except if they're the back or the top or on the inside of your mouth I
got my phone out and I shone that flashlight into my mouth. Because at first I had been coughing and I'm thinking, oh, did I rupture something in my throat? So I looked in the back of my throat, nothing looked red or irritated. I looked at my gums and I didn't see anything, and I blew my nose and it wasn't coming out of my nose. And then I was like, oh my God, is it coming from my lungs?
No, it's coming from your brain. It's your brain. You're having a brain bleed.
Yeah, no, I was having a moment of like, oh no, is this an unknown Rona? My lungs are currently liquefying. And
No.
and then I coughed, and there was it wasn't coming from my lungs. It was coming from my mouth.
Yeah.
And after I rinsed and spit a few times, it stopped. But I just had a little stigmata mystery in my mouth.
Yeah, I get those sometimes.
It caused, a little. And normally when your gums bleed, it's not a lot. This was a lot of blood. It was dabbing my lips, and there was blood on the tissue, like very, very TB.
Maybe you had like a chapped lip thing.
No, it was in my mouth.
Oh, I don't know.
It was not lip bleeding. It was blood in the mouth. I still don't know.
Maybe you cut your gums.
Maybe it's a miracle.
Maybe you cut your gums, and
maybe it was a divine miracle.
A divine miracle. No, I don't.
There was no pain. There was no swelling that I could find.
That's
maybe.
It's just stigmata.
Holiness of bleeding gums.
That's weird.
You can't tell me that that's the weirdest saint there is. I know there's a weirder
Oh,
one.
no. I mean, my roommate in college, her favorite saint was Catherine of Siena.
Is she the cat one?
She's the one that liked to drink the dirty water after washing bubonic plague.
Oh
victims.
Yeah, she was the dirty water lady.
She was the one who wanted to desensitize herself from everything because she assumed, she had the belief that if she desensitized herself from the world around her, then that she would ascend.
I'm saying this as someone who's Catholic adjacent, so just throwing that out there. I think that was a fetish thing.
Maybe.
Lady of Siena, I'm looking a
Catherine of Siena.
You.
Well, she also would wash her face in freezing cold water, go outside and break the ice off of the weld and wash her face with that water because she wanted to desensitize herself. And yes, yeah, no, it was. She seemed a little cray to me.
She's just awfully into that self-flagellation.
Yeah.
But wait, how do you say that word? I don't.
Flagellation.
Flagellation. Thank you.
Yes. Yeah.
Just saying.
But weirdly,
lady, you let your freak flag fly. It's okay. This is a no judgment zone.
Yeah, that was my college roommate's her favorite saint, Leah. Now, I don't know what that said about her, but but I thought it was a little weird.
Maybe your college roommate liked to let her freak flag fly.
For one, judgments. I don't know a lot of other people who have favorite saints, but
I do. I have a favorite saint.
Oh, who? What's your
Saint Sebastian?
Oh.
Martyred by arrows. He's always very pretty in all of his martyred arrow die. He's very pretty. He's the pretty saint. He's always like, I'm so pretty and so tragic, and I have all these arrows.
I believe
he's always naked. I don't know why he's naked all the time, but he's there.
I believe he made an appearance in Losing My Religion, the video.
Oh yeah. He was the one that was referenced in Losing My Religion.
Yeah, there you go.
I also like all the saints that get to carry around their own heads. I think that's a nice flex.
Oh, yeah. I don't really have.
You don't have a favorite saint?
I don't have a favorite saint. Oh. I mean, I studied Catholicism, but I am not. I wasn't raised Catholic or any adjacent religious beliefs. So it's
what about not even Saint Francis of Assisi, friend to animals?
I mean, he's okay, I guess. I don't know. It just seems weird.
Saint Joan of Arc.
Saint
with a sword.
I would prefer Saint Dolly Parton.
There we go. Well, she hasn't been canonized yet.
I know, but she should be.
Well, we can hold out hope.
I mean, earlier this week, if you haven't been paying attention to the news, not only has Dolly Parton donated millions of dollars for COVID vaccine research, but just earlier this week, she saved a poor kid from getting hit by a car. So
she's really going for it.
So, I mean, Saint Dolly, man.
She's going to bust out with X-Men powers at some point. We're all going to be like,
I mean, how old is this woman? I mean, she's amazing. If anyone should be sainted, I feel like it should be her.
I don't know that she's Catholic, but I think we can write the Pope a
I
letter. This new Pope
I
seems flexible.
I feel like
Write a letter
I feel like it's fine. Like why do you have to only be Catholic to be a saint? I don't understand.
because, well, there's we won't
I
because you have
know.
to be
I
Catholic.
know. There's
Emmett,
the whole
come
things.
on.
I know. I know. I know. I know. I know. I was raised by hippies. I don't know these things.
You're raised by, I think there are some Catholic hippies. Pretty
No.
sure.
No. No. They're all relapsed. Or lapsed. Not
Those are
relapsed.
atheists.
Relapsed about something else. They're lapsed. They're lapsed Catholics. Wait. That's a totally different thing. No,
She
they're.
can make that joke.
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm sorry, I can't help it. I was drinking this suffering bastard and it just made me think about religion.
Well, I mean, yeah, that's kind of the whole point. It is a better topic of conversation than what we were talking about before.
What?
Because I will never personally sleep ever again.
The terror clown?
And oh,
Oh, dear listeners, I was describing a movie that I just watched, like not 40 minutes before we started recording. I watched the inexplicable 2015 Victor Frankenstein, starring James McAvoy and Daniel Radcliffe, that has, the true, completely book real,
very accurate.
very accurate to the novel,
original novel.
Yeah, no, I'm totally.
No, it's not.
It's not at all. But it's the story of Frankenstein told from the perspective of Igor, who
famous character in the book.
Yes, such a famous character in the book. And if you haven't read the book, he is not actually in the book.
No, he was invented for the movie.
Yes, for like the 1950s movie, I believe. 40s or 50s, 30s. I don't know.
Yeah,
it's the James
original old.
It's the James Whale.
Yeah.
It's the James Whale Frankenstein. But Daniel Radcliffe plays Igor, a Victorian clown hunchback. And like in the book.
Like in the book, the clown.
In the book. And
the famous clown in the book.
And because I mentioned this to Lady Attercop, she of course had to go look up pictures of it and has now given herself nightmares.
I did. I had to go and Google Daniel Radcliffe, Frankenstein, Igor.
Yes, and
Safe Search was not on, ladies and gentlemen. Not that he's naked, but I feel like Safe Search should protect you from certain things. And Safe Search did not protect me from the vision, the nightmarish visage of Daniel Radcliffe in
white face,
inexplicable white face clown makeup.
Oh no, it's terrifying.
It is the most. Also, doesn't look like any clown makeup ever.
No,
except
it is.
Perhaps John Wayne Gacy's, and
yes.
just.
No, it's terrible.
Oh, it's so scary, and it's so
terrifying,
bad. And I just saw it, like the little thumbnail down there in my Google search, and it will haunt my dreams forever.
Yeah, and I assume that our listeners, a lot of them, like steampunk things and Victorian things, and probably and 1800s things, and or 1700s things. When was that written? I don't even remember. But historic things, and period pieces. I assume that our listeners like that sort of stuff, as do I. And there's a lot of stuff in this movie that is just questionable, and I just really strongly believe that every single actor in this movie wanted a boat.
Yeah, I think they were trying to shore up their coffers before Brexit happened. They're like,
Yeah.
I don't care what the script is. Period piece, perfect. Put it. Yeah, I will.
There's
Poor Daniel Radcliffe. Oh, period piece. I love period pieces. I've been in several now. Oh, sounds good. Looks Frankenstein. Oh, great novel, great novel. One of my mum's favorites. Perfect, perfect. I'm a clown, you say?
oh, a
Don't remember the clown, but all right. Yeah, no. So
hunchback
here's the
clown.
thing, Danny Boy. I assume that all the producers are from New Jersey, even if they're from original Jersey, they still sound like that. Here's the thing, Danny Boy. You're a clown because hey, who's sadder than a clown? And you're a hunchback. But the kicker is, yeah, you're not even really like
You're not.
deformed.
It's
You
not
just got a
hunchback.
giant zit on your back, and that is how you mate Victor Frankenstein, huh?
It's a new approach.
You know, have you heard of Dr. Pimple Popper? Very popular on the Instagram. So we're thinking, we're gonna get that pimple popping money. We're gonna put you in a corset, so you're gonna get a whole new level of creepy fan mail.
Because that'll be a
Creepy
thing.
fan mail.
Because that'll be great.
He's like, oh.
I didn't realize that was something that I wanted, but all right.
I don't know why this is my Daniel Radcliffe, like a scared Victorian John. Oh dear, I had no idea. Mummy didn't tell me I would have to have a pimple. You know, he doesn't sound like that. I've heard him talk. He's a normal human. But in my head, he's wearing breeches, and I just wanted to go and see the sailing ships, Mummy. I don't want to play the pimple clown.
It's too bad. I want a boat.
His mom is like, it's too late, Daniel. You've already signed, and I want a boat.
It's going to be a big boat.
We're fleeing to Ireland once we leave the EU. So apparently Daniel Radcliffe is a scared Victorian child, and his mother is an extra on Oliver Twist, the musical.
I feel like that's correct.
That's very accurate. Our British listeners are nodding, going, yes, no, that all makes so much sense. I'm not insulted by my accents at all. And the original Frankenstein, yes, I was correct, came out in 1931. The Universal horror movie.
Oh, yes. Okay. I knew it was... for some reason, I had it blended with several other ones in the wrong...
There's been a lot of bad Frankenstein movies.
There have been.
There's been so many bad Frankenstein movies.
Well, all I have to say, though, is that this particular one made me long for the heady days of the Kenneth Branagh Frankenstein.
Oh.
No. Yeah. Which, granted, had Robert De Niro as Frankenstein's monster, which,
it did have Robert De Niro in
yes,
it, didn't it?
And he was wonderful. And, there was a lot of wonderfulness in that movie. It was very over the top. I think they were trying to recreate the Universal monsters. That was part of the Dracula. They did Dracula, and then they did Frankenstein.
Oh, right. Yes, they did do all that at the same time, and then they all flopped.
Yeah. And then they kind of did their thing.
Oh God, I forgot about that, Frank.
I'm sorry, but I just remember I saw it in the theater, and
that's I saw Francis
and I saw Dracula.
Dracula in the theater.
Yes, I saw that also in the theater because that was
my first rated R movie.
Well, that was definitely during my big giant Gothic literature, 1700s fan fiction thing. Where I was like, oh, everything.
Oh my God, I didn't write fan fiction. I read the original novel. I got real into the original novel for I don't know. That grade, whatever that grade was. And I didn't write fan fiction, but my friends and I would pass notes off to one another, and we would incorporate, we would draw comics in the notes, and we would throw whatever characters we were currently reading or consuming, or just sometimes it would be Kermit from the Muppets,
Yeah.
into these notes. So during this time, I believe I was drawing Jonathan from Dracula a lot, because
Oh.
I fixated weirdly on the point that he disappears from the first, like, you're with Jonathan the whole first third of the novel, and then he just disappears from the narrative for like 300 pages. I was like, where the heck did Jonathan go? And Pip Parip from Great Expectations.
Okay.
You know, those classic bastions of literature.
Wow.
I had just read Great Expectations as well.
Okay.
Yeah. So it was Kermit the Frog, Pip Parip, and Jonathan from Dracula. Jonathan Harkness all made appearances in these weird notes
Harker.
that we would pass to
Jonathan
each other
Harker.
On notebook paper.
Excuse me, Jonathan Harker, not Jonathan Harkness.
Oh no, Jonathan Harkness is not.
No, that's a different thing.
Yeah, it was a weird time.
That is very odd. But yeah,
I don't know why these are the characters I fixated on, but these are the characters I fixated on.
Hey, everybody fixates on different characters. Who knows?
I do believe I have a comic somewhere where Pip Parip from Great Expectations meets Alucard, the vampire from the Castlevania series. You know, just like one does.
I think that counts as fan fiction, and I think you should.
Does it count as fan fiction, or does it count as a cry for help?
Both? Maybe? I don't know. I feel like these are things that you should be posting on your coffee page, so that.
I did recently find that. I did recently find that comic. It's a little too big to be for my scanner, but I will scan in what I can of it. Oh, I still haven't ever posted my Beowulf comic.
Well, yeah, I have
did put it up on my Twitter.
I have it.
Or at least the cover.
Yeah, I have it. I was going to do some editing because it had your real name on it.
Yes, it does have my real full name on there because I had to turn it in for a grade.
Yes, but
and everyone was like, "Lady Attercop, isn't your real name?" I'm sorry you had to find out this way.
Shocking. I know. It's actually easier to spell than her real name.
This is true. There's a reason I don't use my real name, listeners, and that's because it's difficult.
It's true. It's ridiculous. And on that note, I'm going to press a button.
Ladies, are you engaged? Engaged in a hopeless tussle with your bustle? Perhaps you are suffering from a lifeless caboose. No longer toil with a sad sagging skirt, but buttress your bustle with Madame Pomegranate's bustle starch. Put the hustle back in that bustle.
All right, so tell me more about the terrifying clown that you witnessed.
Which terrifying clown that I've witnessed?
I mean the picture. The picture of Daniel Radcliffe.
Oh, the Daniel Radcliffe clown.
Yes.
It's just bad. Don't Google it. He's got weird eyebrows, and like they've given him black lips instead of a proper. Like they just put black lipstick on him instead of like a proper clown mouth, and he's got thin little British lips, so it just looks like a gash in his face. It doesn't look like a mouth. And then they didn't line his eyes. They just put the tiny little triangles under there. So then, like, between the white face and his pale eyes, and there's like these black holes where his eyes should be, and just scary eyebrows. It's not good. And then they kept his hair out, which is not a thing that clowns did.
Yeah, no, it's.
You would have just had his floppy, weird, and they didn't give him a haircut. They've just got weird, like, grown out Corona hair.
I think they just were like, hey, he's not going to be a clown for long. It's the opening scene.
The makeup off of him. But they didn't even like.
It's going to be he's going to be in the movie. He's going to be dressed like this for 10 minutes. For 10 minutes terrifying. In the movie.
I just saw a still of it and I didn't like it.
Yeah, but he's in it for 10 minutes like that, and they were like, yeah, no, it's just going to be 10, 15 minutes, and then it's done. We don't have to think that hard about it.
Well, yeah, you do, because once you see that image is seared onto the back of your eyelids, and you'll never sleep again.
There you go. Yeah. Well, see, these are things that they didn't think about. They didn't
Tonight,
consult.
when I'm trying to sleep, I'm gonna see Daniel Radcliffe's weird clown face floating up from the foot of my bed, and he's gonna say something like, "Mummy, please, I'm so cold. Let me under the covers with you." And then I'll
Ugh.
scream and scream and scream.
All right. Well, at least you got
And
a
it's a
plan.
bad time to go into a mental hospital, Emmett.
Oh,
There's a pandemic.
it's true. That is true.
You can't be having this.
um. Yeah. So this is the end of the show then, because sanitary. like,
Lady Attercop is in a small dark room.
it's a small dark room, and
The
we
clowns cannot reach her.
and yeah, and this is all.
And you're gonna mutilate yourself with knives.
Oh, well, that's all right. Well, that's so. For our listeners,
Spill the tea
we-
on Emmett.
put all the put everything on me. For our listeners who don't know, or maybe for our listeners who do know, I work in a coffee shop cafe thing, and I've taken over the cooking duties recently. And so many moons ago, I was training to be a chef, and I have a very nice set of chef's knives, and I had to send them off to get sharpened, and they came back, and I tried to murder myself with them, and
Just the ones,
you know, like you do, it's a thing. If anyone,
we were discussing those, like, because I work in a salon, and again, very sharp, very precision instruments that can do
Yeah.
a lot of damage in a very short amount of time.
and that's and there's a very and if you're a cook, if you cook professionally, there are techniques that you are taught in order to how you hold things, to slice stuff properly, how to cut and chop and slice things properly. However, the time that the knives get you is never when I mean, it's very rarely, but it often happens when you're chopping and slicing and all that stuff. But the really dangerous time is when you're cleaning them.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, and so,
Yeah,
like,
that's
that's when it gets me. And then, like, and a week ago, I got by one of my knives because I had washed it off after I had sliced up bagels. I had sliced up bagels because I was gonna make bread pudding out of those bagels, and it got me when I was drying the knife off. And I
Yep.
won't go into detail because there might be some listeners that are squeamish about that sort of thing, and I
They
totally
already had to listen
understand.
to me talk about spitting blood. And
Yes, that is
sink.
true. That is true.
Come
Also,
on.
I just don't want to continue on that. on that.
You could have probably put a warning up there, huh?
Yeah,
Should have
probably.
probably said, hey,
Ugh.
listeners who might be a little squeaked out
Squeamish.
by bodily fluid.
Yes, but so
Guess
yeah.
what I'm going to talk about at length.
So I got myself good, and tried to play it off while the other barista was walking by me, and I was kind of be like, yeah, nothing wrong over here, as I have swaddled my hand in all the paper towels I could possibly find.
Yep.
Holding it,
you already know,
you know,
I cut the side of my finger off once.
holding it
doing an
above
art
my
project. Holding it above your
my
heart,
head.
yeah.
Holding it above my head, going, nope, not a problem, just doing a thing over here in a corner. Not weird.
Please ignore the wad of bloody paper
Yes.
towels. It's totally fine.
It's not weird. It's not weird at all. It's just a thing that happens on Saturdays.
It's just normal Saturday over here.
Yeah, no, it was totally stupid of me, and I should have known better, and it
That's
just
how they get you.
it was
I have been, because I have my first pair of, like, professional, nice shears cutting hair, and I have been warned, like, when you sharpen them, that's when they get you.
yeah.
When you buy a new pair and you're not quite used to the millimeter difference between your new pair and your old pair, that's when they get you. when you're cleaning them, that's when they get you.
Yeah, well, all I kept, one of the things that I told the barista who was working with me when I did it was that, oh, now I feel like Paul the Samurai. And I feel
oh
like,
my god, that's a deep cut.
yeah, I was like, I now have like way too many band-aids on my fingers right now. And she looked at me and was like, what are you, what are you talking about? And I
that's
was
an
like,
obscure pull.
I was like, I'm sorry, that was a very weird, and I had to explain. I was like, so there's this character in a comic book from the 90s?
Did you also have to explain this, the flaming carrot and Too Much Coffee Man? We're gonna go deep into some underground 90s anti-heroes.
I did not mention those, but I was thinking about it because the look on her face when I was saying that, so Paul the Samurai was kind of a side character to the Tick, and she was continued to look at me funny, and I went, well, so Paul Samurai had a sword that essentially anytime he unsheathed it, he had to draw blood, and that oftentimes he would unsheath it when he was just angry or professing some great wrong, and then he would have to draw blood, and so he had to slice his own finger because he couldn't put it back. And she was just looking at me, and I was like, yeah, I'm old, and you don't really want to hear about this, so I'm just gonna go back into my corner and quietly bleed.
That was like me trying to explain how Ducky and I bonded over a ceramic sculpture of Mr. Gone from the Max.
Ah, yes, I have heard that story.
Yeah, and then you have to like delve into what the Max was and who Mr. Gone was and why he was a severed head, and it's just a whole lot.
There's a lot of weird, very 90s cultural references.
So if you spent a lot of time in comic book stories in the 90s, and the kinds that carried both pornography and underground comics...
not necessarily. I hung out in a comic book shop and they did not have porn comics. But I did know the Max.
Yeah, no, I'm just making a joke about our
no, that's because Florida.
Local comic book store in Florida. It had a porn section.
Yes.
That was also where you found, if we're gonna go super 90s, that's also where they carried Propaganda magazine. You had to go into the porn section to get Propaganda. All the old goths are like, oh, Propaganda.
I just got that from Barnes and Noble.
They didn't carry it at our Barnes and Noble.
Oh, they did at ours.
There was nudity in it.
Yeah. No, at
Barnes. You didn't know, whose nudity it was, but that was the whole point.
Oh no, the Barnes and Noble that I worked at, they carried Propaganda.
We did not at ours.
They also had a whole bunch of other. They also had Mapplethorpe books, so maybe that was.
Somebody at the Barnes and Noble was dang.
So maybe that's very telling.
Finland collection.
No, we had. There were a lot of books at the Barnes and Noble that I worked at in the 90s that had plastic wrapping on them that we would find in the bathrooms. So
that's always fun.
So that's probably
Ducky worked in a Borders, which for our younger listeners was another Barnes and Noble type.
Oh, like Books a Million
establishment.
Like Books a Million that doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah, there were a lot of bookstores back in the 90s, but Ducky used to work at a Borders, and they would. There was a guy that would take. They had a couple of weirdos. They had one guy that came in every month to buy Playgirl, Playboy, and then one random magazine that was innocuous, and somehow that always made it worse. So it'd be like Playgirl, Playboy, and then like Cat Fancy.
I was just gonna say Cat Fancy.
Cat Fancy. Yeah, or like Playgirl, Playboy, and then like Crocheters Monthly, and it was like, wow, this is weird. And then there was another person who used to leave Polaroids of themselves in all the books.
Oh.
That was a thing.
No.
Yeah, but see, the problem with that kind of stuff is, and again, like, it's like dick pics today. Nobody wants that, and that's part of the point. I get it. But it's also not going to have the intended response that you're really hoping for deep down in your little dirty bird heart.
Yeah.
Because all it's going to happen is that it becomes a scavenger hunt to find all the dirty pictures, and then it becomes a game. And it's
Right.
not a sexy game. It's just a game for the bored booksellers that work there.
Oh yeah.
They are comparing and contrasting your pictures from last time.
So
Just let you know.
Yeah. Oh no, we had a very silly, ridiculous game that we would play at the Barnes and Noble that I worked at, where it had nothing filthy or dirty or anything, but we would put the word evil on pieces of paper and randomly put them in books.
I knew 2 librarians who had that game, but it was troublesome.
Yes. Yeah, we would just put the word evil in random books, and oftentimes I specifically would put them in sections of the people that I knew who were playing the game with me. Because we thought it was funny. It started off with us just walking around each other going, evil. And then it became we're going to slip pieces of paper.
We're going to hide evil throughout
certain sections because we think it's funny. And so we would just do that. And that was our game that we played, interspersed with the finding horrible other things.
Finding naked Polaroids.
Yes, or having to let our shipping person or our receiving person go into the men's restroom and fish out filthy books using rubber gloves and tongs and things.
And when we took the curse band off the show, we really took the curse band off the show. This is the all bodily fluids episode.
Hey, sometimes it happens. I'm sorry.
But
I'm sorry. These are stories.
Pandemic.
These are stories that happened to us. We have to get them out.
Yeah, I needed to talk about that terrifying clown. I needed to.
That was,
I had to. It was going to haunt my dreams otherwise.
We could just advertise this show as being therapy for us and just...
That's when you bend to the Clockwork Cabaret. Yes. Therapy for Lady Attercop and Emmett Davenport, where we discuss our deepest, most repressed memories.
Yes, let's just delve in.
Between the two of us, we have so many.
I know. A lot of them I don't remember.
I remember them, but then I forgot.
There's for a reason. It's for a reason I don't remember.
Well, I lived in Florida, so I've always got some crazy crap to talk about.
Yeah, no, there's...
And you were raised by hippies.
Yeah, well, a narcissistic hippie.
And if I can't talk about my family, then I'm just going to go into Ducky's family, and he was raised by a Mormon party clown, so that's a whole other level of crazy.
Yeah, no, there's just it just goes all over the place.
I did like the part, I was tweeting about reading Ursula's, or T. Kingfisher's book, The Hollow Places.
Yeah.
And I mentioned, this is based on reality. This is a true story about Ducky. And I said, yes, he was raised by party clowns. Somebody who knew Ursula was like, no, wait, the religious party clown thing was true? I was like, yes, they were religious and party clowns separately. They weren't Christian-themed party clowns, but I do have a story about a Christian-themed party clown that gave him a phobia, if you'd like to hear that.
Oh, yeah, we've talked about this on the show.
Yes, we have talked about Christy Rainbow before. But it was a fun moment.
Yeah, no, it's always interesting when you... I regularly have people who come into the cafe who I'm talking about, and then they realize who I am. Sometime being Emmett Davenport of the Clockwork Cabaret, and then also...
And then you feel the compulsive need to apologize.
Yes, every single time, I apologize. No,
I've been with you when that moment has happened. When somebody goes, "Oh, you do the Clockwork Cabaret,"
You're
and we're both looking
Emmett.
at each other like, "Are we apologizing right now?"
Because I will apologize. So yeah, so I'm sorry.
Especially after this episode,
I feel like yes, we should all apologize for this. But yeah, no, it's very much one of those things of like every now and then something will come up and they will come in. Well, I've had people come into the cafe because they have read Ursula. They follow Ursula's Twitter feed. And they come in and they ask about the weird stories that she tells about the cafe, and I'm like, yeah, no, those really happened.
So
It's
there really is a lady that thinks that the Haw River is full of vampires and
yes,
snakes?
yeah, that is a thing. We are not joking.
No,
Uh,
no, she's real.
she's real. She thankfully has not come into the new location that I know of.
Well, that's because you used to hang people on that hill, and so clearly it's haunted by. It has to be something inexplicable.
I
It
don't
is
know.
haunted by banshees.
Yeah, something. I don't know.
There's a banshee attached
Oh
to
no,
the.
I honestly think it's just that because we were out of service for a year. She just we lost her because she found some new place and
She's some other barista's
she's
problem
someone
now.
else's problem, thankfully. There was somebody that came in over the weekend that I thought we had lost, and he apparently found us again, and I was very much like, "Oh, great. Great to see you
Yay.
and your terrible dad jokes."
I can handle some dad jokes. I just
Oh
don't want to
no, they
be.
were the terrible ones. They're the terrible ones where they think they're being funny and it's like, I haven't heard this 1,000 times before. Oh, when you ask someone what, like, hi, how are you? What can I get for you? And, ooh, $1 million and more hair.
Yeah, we had a guy that came in one day and sat in the salon. He's like, "Well, I'd like a beer and a burger," and I'm like, "Oh, there's a lovely restaurant right across the street. They serve a
Yeah,
great burger
I
and a
think
nice beer. You should go there."
I think his response was, more hair, more money, and Selma Hayek. And I went, I can't help you with any of those things. But if you would like coffee, I am here for you. So
I like
yeah,
also like, "Oh, the winning lotto numbers,"
yeah, yeah,
or "Oh, it's not ringing up. It must be free."
yeah, yeah. No, that's
Oh,
always, yeah. Those are jokes that I have heard for 40 years. I'm
well.
only 46, but I have heard them the whole time.
You heard them in the womb.
I've heard them the whole time. Yeah, yeah. So, uh, but he found us. He found us
He came
again.
back. He missed you. He doesn't have an
Yes.
audience for his jokes anymore.
Yeah, he found us again, and then had to comment about the fact that he misses the art. And I looked around and I went, Excuse me?" And he's like, "The art from the old place." And I went, "It's the same art in here."
It's like
Like
it's all the same art.
like I I know that it's the same art because it's mine and I put it in here
Like, I put it in storage and then I hung it up on the
and
walls.
then I put it back.
We should have been like, well, all those old paintings, all cursed.
They're all
Yeah,
cursed.
no, it's real sad when they all started bleeding
The whole place is
and we
cursed.
started hearing voices and like everything started inverting and
Yeah.
then
No,
it
it
was
was very
levitating the cups and that's just foolish. It's just gonna break.
yeah, it's not I like customers and I like returning customers. I like it when people come in and tell me that, "Oh my gosh, this is the best coffee in town and I love it and I love this place and blah blah, blah." I love all of that. I am perfectly cool with that. I am I'm also happy with people who come in and get coffee and never speak to me. Uh like like
Never utter a word.
yes, I like it when I like customers that I see on a regular basis who I just go, "Do you want the regular, your usual?" And they go, "Yes." Cool. And I go, "All right, cool." And I get it. And that's the only amount of conversation that we have. I
Mhm.
like that. But I have a problem with people doing terrible dad jokes at me because I don't have those daddy issues and I don't think that's funny. Like
You really
I
are turning this into a therapy session.
It is. That's my therapy session. My therapy
Well,
session is that
let's
I
let's
I
concentrate
have some
on
daddy
some
issues.
positive things that we can take from this situation.
No. Oh.
Like, no.
No, the good feelings that I can take from this situation is that I like what I do. I like
Good.
making coffee, and I like making weird baked goods for people,
Mhm.
and I like providing a service,
There you go.
and I just wish they wouldn't talk to me.
uh,
But not
when
everyone.
I worked fast food, I used to get like, because I worked at a McDonald's as a teenager, and you want to talk about people being the absolute worst to people with the absolute least.
Oh yeah.
Ugh.
Oh no, I
And
worked in a movie theater when I was a teenager, so yes, I
how many shits have
understand.
you had thrown on you? Is it more than one?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
How many times did you have to call the cops on a guy in a Beamer that wouldn't get out of your drive-through?
Not
Is
a
it more than one?
Beamer, not a Beamer, but we did have to call the cops at least twice.
I had to call the cops so many times.
I lived in a very small town when
Yeah,
I
I
worked at the
lived
movie
in
theater,
Florida.
so
No, but
that should
oh
tell
my
you
gosh.
something. So,
But I know I actually lost track of the amount of food that got thrown at me. That's
I
neither here nor
once
there.
I w-
But when I would have one of these really unreasonable people, I would go home and I would be mad and stomping.
I once got a phone call from the manager at the movie theater to let me know that that the upstairs apartment from the movie theater, that a tenant had thrown a radiator out the window.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
The radiator, it it's it's embedded in pipe, and it had to be like ripped out of the floor and thrown out the window.
Again, this is not
So
a fair comparison. I lived in Florida.
I know. This was
If there were
Vermont.
rattlesnakes in the corral where I put the trash,
Yeah, no.
sometimes you had to leave and come back because there were snakes in it.
Yeah, I never
But
had to deal with
I
that.
would get very mad when I would deal with these unreasonable, awful people. They were so awful, they were so cruel, and they were so mean. And I would go home and I'd be bitching and moaning to my mom, and she'd be like, "Well, just think about how sad and terrible their lives must be that they go to a McDonald's of all places and take it out on the employees there." And I'm like, I don't want to think about this rationally, Mom. I just want to bitch about this jerk. I just want
Yeah.
to bitch about the guy that tried to get a free Big Mac by pulling the middle bread out of it while I watched.
But the
And
person
then he argued with me.
the person who wanted a Whopper.
Yes, the person that argued with me for 15 minutes in the drive-thru because I couldn't give him a Whopper. That's a true story.
I know.
I kept saying, we don't have Whoppers. That's Burger King. You do have Whoppers. I saw it advertised. You didn't. Not for McDonald's. That's Burger King. We have Big Macs.
I once had a teenager yell at me, another teenager, a younger teenager, when I was a teenager working at the movie theater, yelling at me because I wouldn't let them into a rated R movie.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, it was my sister.
That sounds even more right.
With her friends.
I once had to convince an old man not to cancel his homeowner's insurance because the world was ending in 2012.
Oh.
He was dead. I laughed when he first said it, and then he was like, "Oh no, the world is ending, and I don't see why I should have to pay for insurance because I'm not going to need it after 2012." And I was like, "Okay, well, when is the world ending?" He gave me the date, and I said, "Well, up until that point, you're gonna need some place to live.
You're gonna
want to still have a mortgage, so
and you also still live in Florida, where hurricanes.
Carry insurance.
You're gonna want that,
or else the bank is gonna put it on, and then you have to pay more every month up until the world ends, and that seems like a bummer. I'm just trying to save you money now." That was how I convinced him not to cancel his homeowner's insurance. I often think about that man and what happened after 2012. And about how wrong he was the times table, because clearly it was 2020.
Oh, it was off by 8 years. Well, it just kind of makes you wonder,
math was wrong.
Did he continue to pay his insurance until then?
I don't know.
Yeah, what's his problem, I guess. Oh, this has been a weird episode.
It's been we've discussed blood and milkshakes
And Frankenstein.
and terrifying clowns.
Wait, did we discuss milkshakes?
Well, milkshakes getting thrown at me
Oh,
specifically.
okay. All right. It was that is a yes. That
Multiple
is
milkshakes. More than one.
really more than one.
More than one. Yeah, no, I had a milkshake chucked at my head more than once.
Wow.
The thing about those is they're thick, they're dense, and you can tell when somebody's about to throw it so you can close the window real fast.
Well, also,
The big cups of soda, those were harder to dodge.
I just can't imagine any reason why I would throw a milkshake or a soda
that
at
point, you already
anyone.
paid for the milkshake, my friend, because it always happened in the drive-thru. You've already paid for the milkshake, and I've got news for you. I'm not replacing it if you throw it at
Yeah,
my
I
head.
mean that's the thing is that if I paid for this milkshake, I'm drinking it. I'm not gonna throw it at you. I paid for that thing.
Florida's a strange place full of very angry people. It's swamp crazy.
Oh yeah, no, swamp
Like
crazy
I said,
is.
you can't shock me with a radiator out the upstairs window. That's baby shambles.
I mean honestly, it was one of those. I was on the phone with them at the time because the manager of the theater was my boyfriend, and and we were talking.
Oh, you were talking illegally on the phone on the boss's dime.
Well, there was movies playing. There were
Good job.
movies
No,
playing.
Good job.
Yeah, no, there were movies playing. He had nothing to do, and so he called me, and we were talking, and then all of a sudden he was like, I have to go because apparently there's a radiator on the ground now in the parking lot, and I have to call the police." So,
Yep, that sounds
and I
about
was
right.
very
Well,
much one of those.
Hey, we can live comfortable in the knowledge that for all of the crazy customer service stories we have as veterans of the service industry, nothing will ever compare to Mr. Ducky's stories about working in Walmart.
Oh yes, that is true.
So
I mean, half of them are stories of his own because of his
about
own
him, yeah,
of his
about-
own fault,
and
but
he didn't get fired.
no,
He quit. I still to
I'm-
this day. Like,
it's
how
still
much store
shocking.
property did you destroy in your time there? He's like, oh, I don't know, lots. I'm like, and yet you quit. He's like, oh yeah, and then they asked me back. And I'm like,
they still thought you were a better employee than anyone else there. That's
and the sad fact was, he was.
oh yeah, no, that's just so weird.
Yeah. Yep.
So weird. And on that note, I think it's time to
Wrap this up.
we're gonna give a salute to the people of the customer service industry and
Yeah, especially this time of year
know,
and this
oh yes,
friggin' year. Jeez Louise, man.
God's bless you. Whoever you, whatever, Holy Spirit or whatever that you pray to, man, I'm gonna
Whatever benevolent deity
Yeah,
deems
just-
to shine its light down upon you.
yes, may it bless you with all of that it can.
And if you
because,
are working in a grocery store right now, you get double blessings because whew.
yeah, like it's a rough time. It's rough out there, everybody. Be good and kind to your customer service people, because not only are they having to deal with normal holiday seasonal craziness, winter crazy, but also COVID time crazy,
Yeah,
and that is
pandemic crazy,
that
which
just
is a whole
adds
other new and interesting level.
adds a whole new level. And yeah, so we're gonna wrap it up. We've probably disgusted a whole lot of people, and I apologize for that. But
And if you miss the music and the non-topics of bodily fluids, I've got good news for you. Number one, there's going to be there's always a supplemental playlist that goes along with this podcast every week, and we will be streaming live on New Year's Eve.
yes, and you can listen to the live stream on Twitch, which means I'm sorry to say that you will have to sign up for another online service, because that is a thing that happens. But yeah, but Twitch, it's Twitch TV. It's /Agony Aunt Studios. That's where we will both be. We will be DJing New Year's Eve for several hours. It will be ridiculous. Because
who knows how that's going to go, because we don't have an audience to play off of, so it's just going to be us picking the music for ourselves.
Historically, how it's gone when I've just been doing it by myself, it goes weird.
It goes forward.
So, and if you listen to the show, you know the music goes weird. It always does. So...
Yeah, and if you've always wanted to attend an event, hey, here's a tiny beacon of good news in this hell dimension that we all find ourselves trapped in. You now can.
Yes.
Even online.
Yes, you can join us online, and there's a little chat room. You can talk to us. We will chat with everybody. It will be almost like being at a party without the awkwardness.
You know what? I was thinking, I guarantee I'll be like every year on New Year's Eve, I always wear too many layers, and then I curse myself when I have to run to the restroom to go pee. So This year,
it'll be great because you're close to there will not be a line to the bathroom.
There won't be a line to the bathroom. I probably won't be wearing a corset, stockings, shorts, and then some other accoutrement on top.
It's true. So, I
mean, unless I get real crazy.
Who knows? It's an experiment. We'll see how it goes. It'll be fun no matter what. We will make it fun. At least.
Or else.
We will try. So.
Or else we're coming to your house. We have knives and shears.
Cool. No, don't threaten. Don't threaten her. Don't threaten her.
It sounded vaguely like a threat. I was trying to tie it back to what we were talking about before. That wasn't a good. That was not a good job.
No,
but if you like this thing we do,
you can go.
Cabarets, you can help support it. Just go to our website. It's agonyauntstudios.com, and there you will find our coffee. You will find our Patreon. You will find our PayPal donation link. You will find video of my cat scratching at the door because she has no chill. No, I'm just kidding. That'll be on my personal one.
Yeah, you can find all of our Instagrams, our various social media, Twitter things, everywhere else that you can find us. If you want to know when we're doing anything, you can follow the Clockwork Cabaret with the O removed in work on Twitter and Instagram. If you want to find us on TikTok, we are there.
Oh my God, we are both on TikTok.
We're not doing anything there, but we've both got accounts. You can definitely recommend things for us to follow because I know that I am obsessively following a bunch of people.
Here, send us your best TikToks.
I keep trying to come up with something we can do on TikTok that's relevant, but it's very hard when the two of us are not near each other. So,
yeah, I mean, we could duet.
Yes, I mean, we really? How is that the thing?
It's where you record a TikTok and somebody else records a response to your TikTok.
Oh, we're going to have to do that. All right, we're going to figure that out, and then we're going to do that. So, on the...
Come watch some grandmas trying to use TikTok.
Yeah, it'll be great. It'll be fun. And with that, this has been the Clockwork Cabaret. She is Lady Attercop.
And she is Emmett Davenport.
And remember, it's not work we do.
It's love.
Dear gentlemen and sirs, you know the call to action. Surely you've noticed in your careers as gentlemen adventurers that for all our sublunary escapades we often suffer from what has heretofore been an unmentionable ailment. Well, suffer no longer. With the advent of Sir Thomas Buckshill Wentworth's mentholated monocle balm, you'll be rid of the uncomfortable chafing and dryness that accompanies the life of a monocle wearer. Gone is the shame of a wind-chapped eye, swollen shut in pain. No longer will your unmonocled eye weep with discomfort.
Oh, my eye!
But rather with pleasure and pure mentholated joy. I urge you, the gentleman adventurer, to purchase this helpful product immediately.